What happens to the soul ... 3 months after death? By this time, the rituals have faded, the gravesite is silent, and life for the living has begun to move on. But for the soul, the journey is far from over. In fact, at 3 months, something begins to appear. Subtle, radiant, and unmistakable flashes of light. Not of the eyes, but of the soul. Beacons, signals, divine pulses that begin to guide the spirit into higher realms of clarity, purpose, and reunion. These are not random. They are part of a hidden system of navigation written into the fabric of the afterlife. The ancients spoke of them. Mystics glimpsed them in dreams. And souls follow them home. Today, we'll explore these luminous flashes, the subtle light forms that begin to appear around the 3rd month of the soul's passage. What are they? Where do they lead? And how can we, still in this world, recognize when those lights are crossing into ours? Stay with me until the end, because what you'll discover may not only help you understand the soul's journey, but might just help you see the lights already flickering around your own path. At 3 months into the afterlife, the soul encounters a sudden brilliance, a flash of soul recognition. It is not a light that shines on the soul, but from within. A moment where the soul suddenly remembers itself beyond the identity of the life it just left. This flash is like a sacred ignition. I am not the name. I am not the story. I am the eternal witness behind it all. Up until this point, the soul has navigated memory, emotion, echoes from earth. But now, the light reveals the larger architecture of its being. It remembers its many journeys, its growth across lifetimes, and most of all, its connection to the divine pattern behind every experience. This recognition is often accompanied by an overwhelming sense of peace, not the peace of escape, but of alignment. The soul sees that it was never lost, that every moment, joyful or painful, was part of a deeper unfolding. This flash also helps the soul release lingering confusion or false identities it carried from its earthly role. Mother, child, victim, savior, forgotten. All labels fall away. What remains is essence. Pure, luminous, sacred essence. For the living, this may coincide with a shift in how you feel them. Around the 3-month mark, many report no longer sensing their loved one as the person they were, but as a quiet, wise presence. Some feel this in dreams, or a sudden feeling that they're okay now. That's because they've begun to remember who they really are. The flash of soul recognition is the beginning of spiritual sovereignty. A radiant reminder. I was always more than I believed. Flash of eternal bonds. This is not simply light. It is a revelation. A vision. A moment when the soul sees the threads of connection that link it to others across lifetimes, dimensions, and time itself. This flash reveals that love is not a memory. It is a force, a living current. The soul sees how every soul it ever loved, every being it impacted, is still part of it. It witnesses not just people from its most recent life, but spirits from ancient incarnations. It sees reunions that stretch beyond the grave and love stories that continue life after life. The soul realizes nothing real is ever lost. Every true bond is eternal, but this is more than comfort. It is guidance. This flash helps the soul understand where to go next. It follows the gravitational pull of its deepest soul connections, whether toward healing, service, or reunion in the mind. Spiritual realms. Some bonds gently release, having served their purpose. Others glow brighter, drawing the soul closer to its spiritual family, its guides, and those who await its return. For the living, this flash can stir sudden emotion or knowing. You may feel them nearby, not in memory, but as a living part of you. You might sense they're reunited with someone long past. Or you may dream of them meeting people you never knew they loved. That's the truth of it. The soul is now immersed in the web of eternal bonds, and you're still part of it. The flash of eternal bonds teaches us this: love is not what dies. Love is what leads us home. At the 3-month mark of its journey, the soul is illuminated by a powerful inner blaze, the flash of soul purpose. This is the moment when the soul suddenly remembers why it came. Not just what it lived, but why it chose to live it. This flash comes like a download, fast, undeniable, and filled with emotion. The soul sees the greater arc of its incarnation, the hidden meanings behind its challenges, the deeper reasons for its gifts, the soul lessons it came to master. Even painful moments now appear as sacred catalysts. The betrayals that broke it were the hammers that shaped it. The delays, the losses, the longing, all were carefully placed steps in its divine unfolding. But this flash does more than explain, it empowers. It gives the soul clarity. This is who I am. This is what I carry now. And this is where I must go next. Whether the soul chooses to rest, to serve, or to prepare for rebirth, this moment gives it direction. It no longer wanders. It moves forward with purpose. For the living, this flash may spark unexpected clarity. Around the 3rd month, you might feel a sudden insight about what that person's life meant. You may feel their energy pushing you, guiding you to create something, to heal, to speak, or to forgive. That's because the soul, now aware of its mission, is reaching out to help you step into yours. The flash of soul purpose reminds us, you didn't just live, you lived for a reason. And now, you remember. As the soul journeys through its 3rd month beyond the veil, it encounters a light unlike the others, a quiet, silver gold radiance known as the flash of peaceful surrender. This is not the brilliance of purpose or the blaze of recognition. It is softer, deeper, a warmth that envelops the soul and whispers, you can let go now. Until this point, the soul may have still carried attachments, regrets, worries for loved ones, unfinished dreams. But this flash reveals a higher truth. That surrender is not the same as loss. It is liberation. In this moment, the soul realizes that it no longer needs to carry anything, that its presence, its love, and its essence have already planted seeds in the world. And now it can release the weight of control. This surrender is sacred. It is not the giving up of self, but the return to source. The soul begins to rest, not because it is tired, but because it finally trusts the divine rhythm. It knows that nothing meaningful is left undone, and even what seems incomplete is held in the hands of spirit. For the living, this may coincide with a sudden peace. In grief, around this time, many report a shift. The pain lessens, not because the love is gone, but because something in them feels settled. Some say, I don't know why, but I feel they're truly at peace now. And they're right. The flash of peaceful surrender is not the end. It is the beginning of grace, a silent light that says, you've done enough. Now rest. Let the light carry you further. By the 3rd month of its journey, the soul has moved through memory, purpose, surrender. And now it is ready for something greater. It is met by the flash of divine presence, a burst of light that is not a vision, but an encounter. A moment when the soul feels the direct nearness of the source, of God, of the infinite intelligence behind all things. This flash does not speak in words. It knows. It embraces. It becomes the very space in which the soul exists. There is no question here, no need for identity. The soul feels bathed in a love so vast, so absolute, that everything else fades, wounds, names, roles, timelines. In that light, the soul is not only seen, it is known. Not for what it did, but for what it is. And in that moment, something essential happens. The soul begins to trust fully, not in theory, not in belief, but in experience. It knows that it was never alone. that even in its darkest hour, His presence was beside it, holding space, guiding gently, waiting patiently. There is no punishment here, only light. For those still living, this flash may ripple into moments of unexpected grace. You may feel a sudden stillness, a divine closeness, even a tearful gratitude with no clear cause. It may feel like they're with God now, not as a thought, but as a truth your soul can feel. And perhaps they are. The flash of divine presence reminds us, the soul does not return to a place, it returns to presence. And in that presence, it remembers it was never apart, not at 3 months beyond the body. The soul encounters a magnificent shift, the flash of spiritual transfiguration. It is here that the soul begins to shed the final layers of its earthly vibration, allowing the emergence of a more refined, radiant essence closer to light than form, closer to spirit than self. Flash does not erase who the soul was. Instead, it elevates it. All that was learned, all that was loved, all that was overcome, it becomes light code woven into the soul's evolving field. Pain becomes compassion. Error becomes wisdom. Identity becomes presence. This is not just reflection. It is rebirth within spirit. The soul now starts to shine differently. Those in higher realms recognize this brilliance, not as rank or reward, but as readiness. Readiness to serve, to teach, to integrate with collective missions beyond time. Some souls are met by ascended beings, here guides, elders, or luminous versions of themselves, welcoming them into new orders of being. For the living, this flash can often manifest as a change in how your loved one's presence feels. You may no longer feel them in the familiar, but instead sense them as a subtle uplift during meditation, a flash of insight, or even as part of the voice that now comes through your own intuition. That's not your imagination. It's their transfigured soul, now operating in higher light. The flash of spiritual transfiguration is not an ending. It is the soul's rising into what it was always meant to be, not just the traveler, but the light that guides others forward. After 3 sacred months beyond the veil, as the soul ascends through layers of memory, purpose, surrender, and divine presence, it is finally met by a light unlike any before, the flash of return. This is not a return to earth, nor to a place, but to origin, to essence, to the luminous field of pure being from which it once emerged. This flash is subtle, almost imperceptible, yet total. In it, the soul recognizes that it never truly left this place, only forgot. The illusion of separation dissolves. The soul doesn't become something new. It simply remembers what it always was, a spark of the divine, still glowing, still alive, still expanding within the infinite intelligence of creation. But this return is not disappearance. The soul remains, active, radiant, present in ways the human mind cannot yet comprehend. Some become guides, others merge with soul families. Some prepare for new forms of service in realms that transcend time itself. But all carry this light forward. All remember the way home. For those still living, this flash often arrives as a moment of inner silence. Not absence, but completion. You may no longer feel the same level of daily presence, but instead sense a vast stillness where their soul once stood. A holy quiet. A peace too deep to explain. That is the echo of return, the feeling that they are everywhere and nowhere all at once. The flash of return is the soul's final realignment with the great source. Not an end, but a beginning at the level of eternity. 3 months after death, the soul is not drifting. It is ascending gently, powerfully, through a sequence of sacred illuminations. These flashes of light are not merely signs. They are remembrances, keys, cosmic invitations. Each one guiding the soul to remember who it is, why it came, what it carries, and where it's returning. It is not a path of darkness. It is a path of light, and at each stage, the soul becomes lighter, clearer, more radiant. From the first flash of recognition to the final return into source, something extraordinary becomes clear. The soul was never lost. It was always becoming. And maybe, so are you? Because these flashes don't only illuminate the soul that departed, they reflect something back to us too. They ask, what are the lights guiding your path? What divine memories are waiting to be reawakened in you? Tell me in the comments. Have you ever felt these lights around you or within? Have you sensed that someone you loved was being guided by something unseen? And if this message brought you peace, I invite you to stay close, because the light continues. The journey unfolds. And here, together, we walk the soul's path one revelation at a time.